So we have seen the presentation which covers pretty much all the aspects of what comp music deals with. The audio part, which is being worked on, the rhythm part by Ajay, melodic motives by Sankalp, scores from Satan's work, and lyrics and language in Mohas and in Chinese music. So in all this, we saw that there is a necessity that we have this knowledge in all these domains formalized and accessible by our programs, the data analysis programs. So my thesis will be based, actually building on these things, that it captures all this knowledge and puts it in an accessible way. I will deal with, in the part of my thesis, Indian art music, and the idea is to extend this to all the other cultures eventually. And by knowledge, we mean all the explicitly stated facts we collect from different sources about this music, like what is this raga and how is it made, and all these facts without any human inference on it. And also, once we have this explicitly stated knowledge, we will infer some implicitly present knowledge in that. So by knowledge, we mean both these parts. And from this, we would like to combine this knowledge with the data analysis which we have in place to browse through these collections. So the questions that would arise from this goal is that, okay, suggest me few songs that match my criteria. Like, okay, I'm listening to this raga, I want to browse the songs which have the same intonation as this swara. So the kind of things which we face in the navigation can be dealt with by combining the knowledge-based approaches and the data analysis which we have. As a case study, I will speak about intonation analysis, which I have been working for the past 1 year, and it complements kind of what Sankalp and Ajay does for Indian art music. It's one of the important aspects in that it, so given to ragas, what are the notes or swaras with which I can differentiate between them. So this is what intonation captures about ragas. So I'll talk about I'll walk you through the steps which we went through to know that we have to have this knowledge in a readable way. And in the second part, I will briefly mention about why, what are we doing, and how are we going to integrate this into our methodologies. In all the figures that you see, the x-axis is in cent scale and the y-axis is a normalized count. This particular histogram, it shows histograms of 2 ragas, recordings of 2 ragas, and here we see that the peaks are all located approximately in the same locations, but their shapes and other characteristics, they differ. So to begin with, and as a proof of concept that intonation indeed is a valid concept to differentiate ragas, and it is something in these music cultures, we took this representation and obtained some parameters for each of these peaks. So those essentially we got rid of all. We did some pre-processing on the audio to get rid of the accompaniment and some other noises, and we did parameterization for each of the peaks. So what we extracted is position, mean, variance, kurtosis, and skewness of each peak. We discovered that, we found that it indeed helps in differentiating the ragas, but the problem is this is a very aggregate approach, and we don't know that it is the representation for intonation. So what we did next is to try to obtain distributions for each swara. Instead of taking the whole histogram and saying this is the distribution of each swara, we will go back to the pitch contour and select the pitch values based on its characteristics. So what we does is take a segment, and based on its melodic context, based on the surrounding melodic context, attribute this to a particular swara, this whole movement. So we are not actually taking the value of the pitch at that position, but the whole movement and attributing it to a particular swara. So by this method, we obtained something like this, and it seemed hopeful, and we got it verified by musicians, and they said it makes some sense. But again, the methodology which we have is not robust enough to capture all the peculiarities. So for example, a single swara can be sung as a complete oscillation, a big oscillation between two other swaras, stopping at no time at the intended swara. So these kind of things we are not able to capture it, but the methodology itself captured something else which is useful still in the classification. But this is not exactly what we want. So this figure, for example, shows 3 ragas, and each figure has the histograms for a particular swara for different recordings. You can see that the methodology captures the same kind of distribution for a raga across its recordings. So this is indeed helpful, but we want to have a more complete representation for intonation, and then we carried out a more constrained or controlled experiment using our own recordings recorded by 5 young musicians, and on a particular compositional type called Varnam in Carnatic music. So what Varnam is, it the compositional form, it's very replete with all the raga characteristics, and students learn ragas through Varnams. So it's very complete representation for a given raga. And the thing is that musicians don't improvise much in Varnams. It already has many layers of descriptions of raga, and they pretty much follow the notation in singing that. So we annotated some pieces like 35 recordings with Tala cycles, what Ajay is trying to do in his work, marking the beats, and synchronize them using the notation. So now what we got is, for each swara, we got the contour in the pitch contour. So now if we use the same method and plot it and extract some parameters, we did much better than the previous 2 methods. And for example, here in the second figure, you can see that that particular swara should be at the 400, peak at 400, but it doesn't have any clue that there is a swara there. It just shows swaras at 200 and 500. So this is one example where the swara is not sung at its position. It's sung as a big oscillation. And from here, there are many inferences which are drawn by musicians looking at these plots, but we have no clue about what's happening there. So for example, one such inference that they drew is, so these 2 ragas correspond to the highlighted ones, and you see the transitions to Re and Ma, that is 200 and 400 or 500. And in the third one, you see the transitions to the same places. But in one plot, you see peaks at the positions where the transitions are to, and in the another peak, you just see one peak where the actual swara should be sung. And from this, the inference is that on the second swara, there is a lot of meandering around that swara, and on the first swara, there is not a lot of meandering, and it's pretty much sung at the place. So this description is impossible if we don't have this knowledge in a readable way, in an accessible way. So that, and also like in other studies like Ajay's work or Sankalp's work, where they are working on motifs or patterns, it's very helpful to have this knowledge, and they complement it, and in turn this will be helpful in building these ontologies. So why do we need ontologies? So ontology is formally defined as it's a formal specification of a shared conceptualization. By formal, it means that we represent all the knowledge in using a formal language which is mapped onto a logic, so that we can reason on it. And since our knowledge now comes from different sources, which is from maybe Wikipedia, maybe some other musician, musicologist, or books, we can also do a consistency check. So it helps us to have a reliable knowledge source. And it further allows us to do reasoning. And this enables these knowledge-based approaches. For example, the example which I just spoke about in intonation. And Moha has talked about the effort which we have put into building these huge data collections on MusicBrainz, on Internet Archive, Wikipedia, and we have these multiple sources, and we want to make optimal use of these resources. One way to do that is have an ontology and build a linked data repository with this, and consider that as our data resource. And apart from these sources, we have also the audio features, and given the reasoning capabilities of ontologies which we have now using ontology languages like OWL, which I'll talk about, we can also use audio features within the ontology to do the kind of things which we are doing using data analysis. These are the basic technologies that we require to build ontologies. The first one is RDF, which is represented in XML. But the basic idea is that you represent any knowledge, complex knowledge, in using a set of triple, saying raga, Bhairavi is a raga. So it's just a simple triple. And if you want to describe more about this Bhairavi, you say another triple about it. So, and each node, subject or object, has a reference, unique reference that identifies it. So this is a very, this is used by all the applications to share such knowledge in a very, in a very conventional way, because you can change the schema, yet it is readable by other applications. And the second layer on top of RDF is a RDF schema, which allows us to define a vocabulary which we want to use in describing the knowledge. So, for example, the raga ontology, I want to build, I want to use few terms, and I will define those terms, and I will link them somewhere. So everybody knows, every machine knows that this particular concept is defined by this person, and it is this. So this allows me to define also the class hierarchies that, okay, Bhairavi is a raga, and it's this particular raga. So these kind of hierarchies are possible with this layer. And OWL is much more complex in its scope of vocabulary, and it allows me to put more constraints on these classes and properties, like cardinality constraints, for example. This raga can have only this many swaras. So these kind of things. And once I have this ontology, the possibilities are what I have talked about in the previous slide. Now, right now we are building this raga ontology. For example, I want to show you where we are. So these are the basic classes which I defined for a raga ontology, and this is an example of a swara. So, and it also accommodates many other idiosyncrasies within the culture. And for example, here there is a swara, and it has many names. It has children, and they have nicknames. So all these kind of things. And the knowledge which we are talking about is like this particular swara is disjoint with some other swaras, and so it cannot occur in conjunction with other these swaras in a raga. So these kind of constraints and knowledge that we encode will help us to do a kind of analysis. Like, so I'm doing peak detection to detect the peaks in histograms. So if I detect a peak at a location, and if I also find a malicious peak at some other location, then I can get rid of that using these constraints. And swaras, they make progressions depending on their number of swaras in a particular sequence and their order. And these progressions further make ragas, and there are several defined hierarchies based on different properties of ragas. So essentially now we are on the way of making this raga ontology and using it in our analysis, like intonation motivic analysis. And further, the work Satan has talked about is scaling up the controlled experiment using annotations, which is Ajay's work, which are from Ajay's work, and the synchronization from Satan's work. well, these are the publications which we have.